Chris, we had a chance to talk to you with Jim Stolfouting about this honor a little bit, but now that it's here and you've had a chance to kind of begin to soak it in once again.
I'm going to have to hold it together. Buffalo has such a special place in my heart. So many memories. The people. Hell, even the weather. My coaches, my teammates, the staff that was here. I still talk to guys like Scott Burchtoll at least 2 or 3 times a week. We have this little nickname that we, as soon as he sees it on his text, he just busts out and starts laughing. That's just the kind of unique bond that we've had over the years and that we still have. And for Terry and Kim Pegula to pay homage and to reach back in the Bills' rich history and honor the number 78 is a humbling experience. They spared no expense. They wanted to make sure it was done right. Russ Brandon, who led the charge and making this day possible, was incredible. He was the #1 supporter in making this happen. And then I've had guys that have wanted to be a part of this, like Darius, who's singing the national anthem. He performed last night in downtown Buffalo at the reception that we gave, and you know, it's just, it touches my heart.
What about these differences there that's happened in a nationally televised game, not just a regional game?
Well, I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to pick which game that I wanted to see this ceremony take place, and I figured I better get it out of the way in September as opposed to November or December. But I don't know if I'm worthy or lucky enough to deserve all of this. But I'm going to try and enjoy it. You know, my family's here. I had some folks put their heart and soul into making this go without any blemishes. Christy, who works for the Bills. I must have talked to her 4 or 5 times a day to make sure this moment will be special, not only for my family and I, but for all of my friends that came up. And I'm so grateful. I'm grateful.
Are you surprised that you know, to wrap your emotions around this, how difficult that it's been? You know, back in the day, we all know that, you know, you were very bold in certain ways. And this is a different, you know, years have gone by now, and it seems like it's hit you maybe even a little bit different than you might have expected or prepared for.
I've always had this side. It's just some folks never gave the opportunity or the chance to really get a chance to see me for who I really am. I've always been a caring, emotional guy, but there was a side of me that I had to be strong. I had to be bold, playing in a small market. The things that we did as a team, it strengthened us individually, and that's carried over to life after football. The way I approach things today, I'm a little older, a little more mature, and this maturation process is still going on. I'm 53 now, and I look at the world and I look at things a little bit differently, and that's the way it's supposed to work.
Bruce Smith in 2016, Bruce Smith in 1985.
In 1985, I would have never thought this day would have taken place. What would I have told myself? I constantly remind myself what my father told me when I was growing up. Pray and take God with you and everything will be okay.
Bruce, what was the determination that kept you coming back after year, especially after all the surgeries that you had during the offseason? What was it that had you saying, hey, I can come back, go to rehab, and get yourself ready and therapy, get your shoulder and knees and everything?
You know, that's a great question, because everybody talks about the body of work and the 15 years here and the 4 years, a total of 19 years. But it was a challenge. It was having a surgery after surgery after surgery, spending my off seasons trying to get my body back together so I could come out and compete. Having doctors all over the country, Dr. Stedman in Birmingham, Alabama, Dr. Yoakum in California, and Dr. Stedman in Vail, Colorado. It took a lot out of me, but I just had this drive that was in me, and this quality and this trait that I got from my parents. They were blue-collar workers, and I think that's what this love affair that the fans and I have. I was a blue-collar worker in a blue-collar town, and they've shown their appreciation over the years for it.
Bruce, the emotion that this obviously has for you and the gravity that you're giving it, can you go back to your mindset? I remember the Hall of Fame, obviously, for you, and that certainly was emotional, but it just seems like this is hitting you in a different way than Canton did, somewhat, if I can remember correctly.
I think it is, too. You know, in Canton, there are 6 or 7 guys that are actually being voted and then inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But this particular case is just me. They're highlighting the body of work that took place over the 15 years here. And just to give you guys a little perspective, I'm a huge numbers guy. You know, less than 1% of all players that have ever played in the National Football League in a 97-year history of this league, less than 1% make it to the Hall of Fame, are inducted into the Hall of Fame. Less than 1%, which is a little more than 300 players right now. Less than half of 1% have their jerseys retired. And from my understanding, this jersey is the only jersey that will be retired in the National Football League this year. And obviously that's a team's decision, but that feels pretty special.
So I'm not sure to ask you to rank it compared to Canton, but the fact that, given what you've just outlined, and the fact that it's only the second number to be retired in history.
The monitor's there, right?
What is that?
It's a different kind of emotion than Canton. Again, you're sharing that stage with 6 other people. However, in this case, I may be standing at the podium or standing on the stage, But I'm not going to be standing alone. You know, my parents will be with me. All the folks that came up from my hometown, my wife, my son, my brother and sister, my aunts, and so many other relatives and dear friends. I'm blessed.
Bruce, what is this, why 78? I refresh your memory. How long did you wear that number? Does it have any special meaning for you?
Not necessarily. I wore this number through college. I wanted it when I came to the Bills, and they extended the opportunity for me to be able to have this number, and I just wanted to make it special.
Bruce, you know, back toward the end of your time here with the Bills, the playoffs and the Super Bowls and everything, you guys, all of you, on numerous occasions told us repeatedly, you'll never see a team like this, which is true. Did you ever think that this organization would be going through what it's gone through the last 16 years? Has it been tough for you to watch from afar?
It's been tough. But I am encouraged. We have the right ownership. Terry and Kim Pegula. I think they're going to get this team together. I think they're going to move it in the right direction for the future. It may take a year or two, but number one, we have to keep our guys healthy. We have to help them to make smart decisions, and I think that'll hit us on the right track.
Bruce, you made reference to whether or not you think you're worthy of this. There were a lot of great players on those 90s teams that you played with. That said, you're the second guy to have your jersey retired. What does that tell you about your spot in the history of this franchise?
Man, I feel honored and privileged to have played with this group of guys in that era of football. Where it ranks, that's for the fans to decide and the media to decide based upon accomplishments and what he meant to the team and so forth and so on. I'm certainly not going to get into who's one, who's two, and who's three. But I just feel honored and privileged to have had the opportunity to play in front of this crowd, these fans, for 15 years. I love Buffalo. It has a special place in my heart. I have so many friends here. I have so many people that were there with me when my parents passed away, in difficult times and good times, and I'll never, ever, never forget. Never forget. This is a special place.
Do you think that players today appreciate it the way that you are now? There's been a lot, it seems. The game has changed so much, both on the field, off the field, money. It's the connection that your teams have with the community seems to be, there's a wider gap, I guess you could say now. Do you have any opinions about any of that? On why or what happened?
No, I can't say that that I really have an opinion right now, but the game has changed. There's no question about that. It's a passing league now, obviously. The dynamics of it have changed money-wise, with TV revenues, salaries and contracts have been escalated to enormous levels. And unfortunately, other things change too.
Given that it's a passing league now, would you like to play in an era like this, just being able to pin your ears back?
I would. I would have. I would have liked to have seen what else could have been accomplished, but I'm happy and content right now where I am.
306.
Couple more, guys. With the rules changes, can you play, would you have been able to alter your game to the current rules?
They wouldn't have necessarily affected the way I play the game, because I never, I wasn't a dirty player. Didn't go after quarterbacks and hit them in the head or try and injure anybody deliberately. So I would have had no problems with playing in the new rules that they have today, or some of the rule changes.
Is there any one play in your 19-year career that really stands out in your mind?
That's 19 years of plays. That's a lot. You know, I can tell you the one game that stands out, and obviously I'm sure everybody can identify with that, and that's the Houston Oilers game.